why did you typically write a book? There must be some motivation. What drove you to that particular task?
Well, the first thing is when somebody talked about writing a book, I'm dyslexic. And when you're dyslexic, you go A, B, Z, which is an advantage, and about 30% of CEOs in the world are. But it is really hard for you to read and write and the structure that goes with it. So I thought the last thing I would ever do would be write a book, and that maybe somebody would be nice and write one about me once I was dead, which is what I thought was appropriate about having a book later. And I got the same questions around the world, and I love teaching. So it didn't matter if I was in Dubai or Paris or Berlin or New York or Beijing or Delhi. All the questions are so similar about how do you lead? What are your lessons learned? What are your mistakes and how do you deal with it? Are you more a product of your mistakes or more a product of your successes? How do you do acquisitions? How do you develop culture? All these things in terms of, they wanted to know, and the questions, Shannon and I track them all the way through. We had 780 different questions just in 1 year, but the top 25 were the same. And it was learning to teach, and everybody kept saying, write a book and share this with us. Because it's nice to listen to you on a couple quick answers, but if you'd write a book that I could go back to and learn from, it doesn't mean, if you agree with everything I say today, I've failed. I want to re-challenge you, occasionally get you uncomfortable. So I did it as my way of giving back and hopefully do it on a larger scale. And it was... I'd like to tell you it was a labor of love. It was much harder than I thought. I recommend don't write a book. It is really hard. But the end result was something that I was proud of, and it's something I can share with you and say this is part of our partnership. And you see a lot of what we did together articulated there. And I wrote it like I like to learn. You don't remember here the 10 things at the end of a chapter. You remember the stories. You remember that in my dad teaching me to learn to deal with fear and to learn to deal with huge challenges. I fell into the water when I was 6 years old fishing, and he told me, don't get too close to the rapids. He was going to fish above me on it, and he made me promise I wouldn't get too close because the rapids literally can kill you, and the current's unbelievable. And I did what any 6-year-old would do. I did listen for a while, then I tried to get further out, and I was swept in the rapids. And candidly, it was a potential death situation. And my dad, from way up above me, started yelling at me, hold on to the pole. I thought I was drowning. And every time I'd pop up, he'd say, hold on to the pole. It was an ugly pole. Might have cost $5. It was black. But because he told me to hold on the pole, I grabbed a hold of that pole with both hands. And I'd come up, get my head barely above water, sputtering, and I'd get swept back under. But I was so concentrated on holding on the pole, my dad finally got below me, swam out, pulled me out of the water, and he taught me one of the many lessons in life that he did over the years. He said, when you find yourself in a panic situation, you can't do that. You can't swim against the river currents. You can't swim against the tide. You have to deal with life the way it is. And that's when you need to be the calmest when other people are not. And he said, as you do this, you just have to go with the current, realize there are going to be rocks in front of you, use your feet to kind of cushion the blow into the rocks, roll off of them, go to the next one you get swept under, don't panic, don't swim against the current, get back into the thing, and then when you have a chance to work your way over to the side, do so. He never told Mom this, but he took me back up the river, and he said, are you okay jumping in and going down through that same current? And I did. 12 years later, a young man who was 16, a tremendous athlete, obviously I was 6 at the time, drowned in that exact spot because nobody was there to tell him to hold on to the pole. So it teaches you life, and the stories you remember, but it's how you deal with the challenges in life, and you hit it in business, you hit it in your personal life. How do you basically stay focused on what's important, be realistic about the situation you're in, and how you work your way over and you deal with it.
Good.
Thank you.